morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching The Inside Scoop. I am your host, Steve Scanlon. Sitting next to me is my co-host, Bubba. Welcome, Bubba.
Doing, Steve?
Pretty good. And sitting next to Bubba is Joe. Welcome, Joe.
Hello.
And due to her absence is
Again.
Emily. She's playing soccer.
She's actually got something to do with school tonight. I don't know what she's doing.
Is she doing school stuff?
Something to do with school,
So she's
yeah.
going to miss soccer as well. So her teammates going to be upset with her.
I don't know if there's a match tonight. No practice tonight.
Oh, okay. So it's a practice. Okay.
I don't know.
Practice on Wednesdays, games on Sundays.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. How often when you played soccer, did you ever get kicked in the head? Did you ever tell me that?
Well,
Which head?
I played goalie, and there was quite a few
Balls
times
come off your head a few
ball
times?
came right at my head a few times. So.
Wow. And by
And
the
also
way,
the headbutts to the balls. You see them doing the headbutts to the soccer balls? They do headbutts.
yes,
too.
I've done that a few times growing up when I played
Exactly,
soccer.
sense.
We haven't been on for a few weeks, folks.
Yes.
Okay. Last week I kind of had a little medical emergency. Not to get personal. Steve was at a buffet and we couldn't get him out of there.
Yes.
I heard you were at a buffet and it hadn't really closed up yet. They were begging you to leave, and you called me earlier in the day and says, "Can you do the show? I'm still eating." I'm like, Steve, what time did you get there, Steve? You had the day off, right?
Yes.
You were there, what, about 1?
As soon as they opened, actually I was there at 11 a.m.
Oh, my God.
Right when they opened up for lunch, I was there for lunch all the way to the supper
I mean,
hours.
John Panette used to have a skit one time. You here, Chinese buffet, you here 4 hours, you eat all the food, my family starve. I mean, Steve,
Well,
please.
it's their fault for making Chinese food so delicious. If Chinese food was not delicious, I wouldn't be at a Chinese buffet.
No, you'd be at an Italian buffet closing that one down.
Good point. I'm not going to deny that.
A Greek buffet, Polish food, you don't care what kind of food it is.
Matter of fact, I haven't eaten supper yet tonight. I think I'll do a Italian buffet tonight.
Well, hide the meatballs and sausages, he's coming.
And
Put
I
the
think I'll have
raviolis
that
away.
with the raviolis and spaghetti.
It's Mario and Luigi.
Manicotti, all the things you eat on the buffet, hopefully they close down before we finish taping.
So where's the nearest one?
I ain't gonna tell you,
Okay.
because I don't know where it is either. You closed the other one I knew about.
I'm sorry, Bubba.
Why do I put up with this? Let's
Now,
go back to topics.
yes, we were absent last week's taping because me being at a buffet and you had personal issues. There was a WWE pay-per-view that took place this past Sunday called Extreme Rules. And Joe has the results.
Joe, why don't you read the results to us? Slowly. He still can't grasp things quick, so.
Universal title was an Extreme Rules match.
Speak up. Emily did this so good.
Will we start again?
Give me the book.
What book?
Oh, God, Chinese again. Extreme Rules, okay? Universal title Extreme Rules was Roman Reigns against the Demon Balor. And Roman Reigns won. Smackdown Women's Champion title. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair was technically a disqualification. Okay, we'll explain some of these after the listing here. U.S. title 3-way. Damian Priest against Sheamus against Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma. And Damian Priest held on to his title. The Raw Women's title, Charlotte Flair versus Alexa and Lily. Well, Charlotte Flair won and Lily's dead. We'll explain that after too.
That'll be interesting.
SmackDown tag titles, the Usos versus Street Profits. The Bloodline, the Usos won that. Liv Morgan against Carmella, who thinks she's the prettiest girl in WWE. She's not, but you think she is. I think. Who do you think is the prettiest girl in WWE? Just go off subject for 2 seconds.
I think Alexa Bliss.
Who do you think?
I agree.
I thought you were going to say Dewdrop. Anyhow.
Well, she's pretty too.
He's one of the eating buddies. Anyway, next day versus
That's New Day.
New Day next. It looks like next to me. Hold on. Yeah, it's New Day. Sorry, it's hieroglyphics there. Versus Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles. With almost and New Day, we had all three people together: Big E, Kofi, Kingston, and Elijah Woods. Okay, good match. That was a very good match, by the way. And the New Day won that. Actually, Big E pinned Bobby Lashley. Now, I mentioned earlier how we're going to go through some of these things. I'm going to start with the Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss match. All the matches, I think, were great last time, Steve.
Okay.
Excellent wrestling, I think, throughout the card. There really wasn't a match that didn't live up to its potential. The Liv Morgan-Carmella match was a little bit weak, but it was okay. But Charlotte Flair and Alexa had a good match, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, Charlotte kind of started dominating the match, and she ended up beating Alexa Bliss. Well, Alexa was out of the ring. She went over to the corner and she grabbed Lily Doll, the possessed little doll. And Charlotte Flair proceeded to rip Lily to shreds. I mean, tore off the head, tore off the legs, everything. Ripped the doll apart.
How rude.
Alexa Bliss was actually holding the head, crying.
Sweet nibble.
And screaming.
And yelling. But I have a feeling we're going to see Bionic Lily soon because they're going to rebuild her. Right.
Yeah.
The Roman Reigns Finn Balor match. That's another match that was really, really good. The Demon Balor, who has never lost a match until Extreme Rules. That was back and forth, back and forth. They were destroying each other. I mean, Roman was actually getting the best of Finn Balor for a bit, and then Demon Balor came back. Of course, the Usos came out like they always do in an Extreme Rules match to help Roman Reigns. And Demon Balor took care of both the Usos. He goozled one of them through the announce table, put him right through it, powerbombed him right through it. Okay. Yeah. And I think he posted the other one, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
He's sitting there looking around, posturing to the crowd, and Roman Reigns drilled him through the barricade where the announcers sit. I mean, he just mangled him through it. Wow. I thought he was dead, but he wasn't. Suddenly the lights started flickering, and Demon started quivering like he was getting jump-started with a respirator, which I thought was a little cocky, but it worked. He's a character. He's a demon. You can't keep a demon down. He got a hold of Roman Reigns, and he started beating the heck out of him with a chair. I mean, pretty bad. Chest, back. He hit him about 6 times. Threw him back into the ring. Hops up to the top rope to give him the coup de grace. Just as he gets in the top rope snapped, and Demon Balor fell.
Yep.
He then got up, and then Roman Reigns speared him again out of his pants and pinned him. I just think it's kind of odd that WWE can rig a ring now for the top rope to snap. It can be done, I guess. I mean, I've put together hundreds of rings and never saw one fall apart like that before. With the exception of when Brock Lesnar and Big Show and who was it before? Was it Roman Reigns and the Big Show? Was somebody else with the Big Show when the ring snapped? It's happened twice now. But the top rope just happened to snap really great for Roman Reigns. I mean, the Becky Lynch Bianca Belair match was disqualification. Sasha Banks got involved, come in and beat up Bianca Belair, and then, to be fair, she beat up Becky Lynch too. Sasha was got a job out of her match during SummerSlam, if you remember. Am I right? I'm asking Joe too. You know, you can. I mean, the other matches were great wrestling matches. The New Day, Big E pinned Bobby Lashley.
Now, Big E, we didn't get a chance to announce because we didn't do a taping last week. Big E is the new WWE champion.
Yes. He cashed in his Money in the Bank on Bobby Lashley after he had a match with Randy Orton on Raw. Bobby Lashley supposedly tweaked his knee. Didn't look like he did to me, but he tweaked his knee, and he went in and pinned him. I think what's happening with Bobby Lashley is they want to take a title off him because one MVP is hurt. MVP, I guess, legitimately hurt his ribs.
Wow.
I guess Randy Orton, when he arcaded him so hard he actually broke a couple of his ribs. That's why he won't see MVP for a few weeks until his ribs heal. And they try to give Big E a singles push.
Yeah, Randy Orton wasn't at Raw this past
Nope.
week.
Well, he has to take some time off. People forget. I mean, he's been wrestling for how long? Almost 20 years now? Randy doesn't like to work 4 times a month. I mean, him and Riddle are still tag champions.
Yes.
Riddle almost got killed by AJ Styles and him had a decent match, but almost tried to kill him afterwards.
Yes.
Almost is just too big a person. No one's been able to stop him. I mean, you need someone like, I hate to say it, Braun Strowman back. You need someone like Lars Anderson when he was a jerk to come back. You need someone like who's just a beast, pun intended. Someone like Triple H before he has a heart attack. He had a mild heart attack.
How's he doing right now?
He's doing much better. I know he only had a mild heart attack. He'll be back doing his full duties shortly.
Okay.
I'm wearing the shirt. I purposely wore this shirt tonight. I mentioned it on this show. I never thought we'd ever see Tommaso Ciampa back in wrestling. He's the current NXT champion. He won a 4-way. For those who saw our last show and didn't see the follow-up to that, which was, I think it was that weekend, Samoa Joe is retiring outright. He has internal injuries that won't allow him to wrestle anymore. I think he has a problem with his heart. I think he has a problem with his heart or internal. Something gave way inside his chest. That's why he's basically forced to retire. He'll be a trainer. He's a well-liked man, well-respected wrestler. That's really it. I mean, we went through the Damian Priest match, Sheamus match, Jeff Hardy match was also an exceptionally good match. Those 3 guys work well together. I mean, you got 2 veterans in there with a guy who was Punishment Martinez in ROH and Damian Priest, who's just come up from NXT. 3 good workers, 3 really good wrestlers, and that was. And if I had to pick the match tonight, what would you pick, Joe? You pick yours first.
I'd have to go with the main event.
How about you, Steve? Did you watch the pay-per-view? No, okay, so you wouldn't know. He doesn't sometimes get the pay-per-views, folks, so that's why I'm trying to help him. We have Joe here who watches all the pay-per-views. I had to pick a match. This is a tough one for me. Because I have 3 matches that are pretty much in my head. I'm going to go against you. I think the Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Jeff Hardy match was a great wrestling match all around because no one really dominated that match. They all worked well together. I mean, Reigns kind of got the help from the Usos like he always does. It was a little bit hokey because the Demon kept popping up. I mean, we saw the Demon thing essentially with the Fiend, so it's kind of a similar character. I mean, Becky and Bianca could have kept going, but Sasha Banks won that match. But I think the best match tonight was Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Jeff Hardy.
Damian Priest, I like him. I think he's one of their top entertainers, as in being entertaining, that the WWE has right now.
He came from Ring of Honor. He was Punishment Martinez. He was a tough guy that he lost a title match, I know, and then he got signed by WWE right after that. A lot of the ROH guys have moved on to WWE and some have moved to AEW now. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Adam Cole's in AEW.
Cole, yeah.
Roderick Strong is now a champion in NXT. Kyle O'Reilly's getting a big push for the championship. Bobby Fish was let go. He was released by WWE.
Oh, wow.
Now, I've met Bobby Fish.
Okay.
He's wrestled in this area. He wrestles in Brockton. He wrestled for NECW. Really nice kid from New York. I was actually at a match in Brockton. Oh, wow, I'm going back too long now. Maybe 13, 14 years ago when Bobby Fish was just getting his soil on his oats a little bit. Wrestled Eddie Edwards, who he heard of from TNA Impact. It was the Iron 8 challenge, which Bobby Fish was supposed to win. I found this out from Sheldon Goldberg. the man who runs the company. And inadvertently, the legs got tangled coming off the top rope with Eddie Edwards, and Bobby Fish snapped his ankle.
Wow.
I was in the front row, and I heard that man's ankle snap. I heard the bone, and I got right up and right away and put my arms up with the Chris Bean's injury. They brought an ambulance in, dropped the ring ropes down, and they ambulanced him out of there. He actually broke his ankle.
Wow.
I mean, if people think wrestling is kayfabe 100%, that was not kayfabbed. Trust me. These are all tough athletes.
There was a wedding that took place on NXT,
Yes.
I believe, 2 weeks ago. That was quite interesting.
Well, tell us about it, Steve. You know, you saw it. So did
Well,
I.
I'm not sure who the guy and the lady was, because I'm not familiar with a lot of NXT guys. But they had the wedding in the ring.
One of the girls' name, I forget her first name. I always do was Idlewell. She was with Johnny Gargano and his wife. Hartwell. I think that's her name. Okay? But Dexter Lou is a quiet character who come out with this crazy
Dexter,
blonde
that's
hair.
who it is, yes.
Dexter Lou, I know the name Dexter Lou. He was a local guy who worked mostly in the western part of the state at
Oh,
one
I
time.
never knew that. Okay.
Yeah, Dexter Lou. I have him on Facebook. Dexter Lou's character didn't say anything. He's never said anything. For the last year, he's been on the company. And it was funny during the wedding ceremony, Johnny Gaga and the guy who officiated the whole match, I think it was the Glamazon, was supposedly sworn in as a minister or something, and she officiated the whole wedding. Help me with her name. I can't think of her name.
Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix. I don't know why for some reason that name blocks me.
Edge's wife.
Edge's wife, Adam Copeland's wife. Beth Phoenix, Beth Copeland. And she says, well, I guess I'll say it for you. And he covered the mic up, and the whole place was like E.F. Hutton. Remember the old E.F. Hutton commercials? He said, I do. It's the first time he's ever spoke. Everyone was in shock. Wade Barrett's like, I don't believe what I'm hearing, you know. It was pretty funny with that deep English accent of his.
Yeah.
He got some bad news for you. But it was funny. I thought that was funny as heck. That whole skit, how they got married. They wear their wedding vows. And what's your wedding vows? Well, I'm going to read them for you. Beth Phoenix read them for him, and he went, I do. Blake's freaked. It's the first time he ever talked.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about Owen Hart real quick.
Okay, just
I know you guys don't watch AEW, but AEW was able to convince, is it Martha Hart, Owen's wife, to have a tournament in honor of Owen Hart called the Owen Hart Cup. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is with her giving them the okay to do it, I'm just hoping that in the future she gives the WWE permission to do the
I've
Hall
read
of Fame
stories about
under
this, okay?
Owen Hart's injury.
She still thinks, and I think she's right,
Okay.
that because of the negligence of WWE, her husband died.
Yes.
That was dumb having him do what he did. They had the wrong company set up to do this stunt he did, and he essentially died in the ring. And I guess McMahon was very uncool about it. He was very cold about it. Kept the pay-per-view going, and the wrestlers even said it during interviews. How can you talk about wrestling right now when Owen just died? They should have possibly canceled that show out of respect for Owen Hart's life.
I agree with that.
And that's why his wife never wanted him to go in the WWE Hall of Fame. He never wanted to patronize him for WWE, not even to go in the Hall of Fame. To see a guy like Mark Henry, who's 410 pounds and was an Olympian and a gold medal, actually a silver medal power lifter, and guy wrestled for the company for 16 years, who was trained partially by the Hart Foundation, pleading with his wife to let him go into the Hall of Fame. He said it during his own Hall of Fame ceremony speech, if you saw it.
I did.
Yeah, I'm sure Joey did. I don't know if you had, Steve.
Yeah. With you mentioning what you said, when it comes down to the WWE Hall of Fame, I think Martha, I mean, I'm not gonna tell Martha how to feel. Because if something like that happened to a relative of mine or a spouse of mine, I would feel the same way she feels. But for what he has did for the wrestling business, Owen Hart, in his honor and his name, I think she should allow, well, I feel she should allow him to be
Having that tournament for him is a good gesture too. That's by AEW.
Yeah. Okay, WWE is having the draft starting this week on Friday Night Smackdown and will continue on Monday Night Raw of next week. So with that happening, do you guys have any picks on who you think SmackDown and Raw is
Joe,
going to
you
choose?
go first. I have a few people. I have a few different ones back and forth that are going to happen here.
I don't think I really have any picks in mind.
You haven't really prepared for it?
No.
How about you, Steve?
Well, I think because Big E is the WWE champion, the Raw version of the title, I think, well, he's still a SmackDown wrestler, right, Big E?
Technically, right now, he's not. He's a Raw one now because he's their champion.
Okay, so he wouldn't be considered a SmackDown. But even though I think, yeah, the float thing, I think Raw is going to try to keep him. So I think they will sign him, Big E, to Raw. For SmackDown, my pick for SmackDown, with Roman Reigns being the head of the table, so to speak, I think they're going to try to keep their champion as well, Roman Reigns.
And the Usos are champions. The Bloodline.
Yes.
Anybody else you think? Because I have a few.
I see a feud happening between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in the near future, and Paul Heyman being involved. So I think they're going to re-sign SmackDown. It's going to re-sign Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Usos, because they're part of Bloodline. Now for Raw. I think they're gonna re-sign Damian Priest, but also sign, was it Karrion Kross? Is that his first name? Karrion Kross. I think Raw will sign him.
They gotta bring up his wife soon, or his girlfriend soon. I've read that online.
Okay. Now, you have any picks, Bubba?
Oh, I definitely have a few things that moves are going to happen. These are only opinions because I haven't read into this myself. These are opinions.
Okay.
Okay? The first one might shock people from Raw. They are going to split up the Viking Warriors, which is a great tag team.
They are a great tag team.
I think Eric Rowe's going to go to SmackDown, and I think they're going to keep Ibar on Raw. I can see Ricochet going to SmackDown. Okay. I can see, just like you said, Big E staying with the rest of New Day, so keep that faction together again. They seem to do well together as a group of three. But I see Bobby Lashley going to SmackDown when MVP comes back. But Bobby Lashley, and I could also see Drew McIntyre going to SmackDown. You're taking 3 or 4 big names and you put them on a different show. So you have to take some from the other show and bring them over. Okay? Oh, I can see AJ Styles and Omos getting broken up too. I think they might put Omos on SmackDown. Now, I could see Apollo Crews coming up with Colonel Aziz coming to Raw. All right. I could also see Shinsuke Nakamura coming to Raw.
He's the Continental Champion.
Right, and he's Continental Champion with Rick Bogues. Okay, but I see Damian Priest perhaps going to SmackDown. You could just flip flop these two because you want to have different matches, different people a little bit.
True.
But You're going to leave Randy Orton here. You're going to leave another tag team I could see moving is Chad Gable and Otis coming to Raw. Okay? Of course, there's an ongoing feud with Baszler and Nia Jax. They're going to stay on Raw. I can see Naomi staying on SmackDown. I can see Carmella coming to Raw. I can see Alexa Bliss going to SmackDown. You're going to flip-flop. You're going to lose because you're going to mix up talent. All right? I want to spend, if I can, the last couple of minutes on independent wrestling because I was in a couple of shows since our last taping. I've been to 2 shows, actually. One was the IWA on Willett Street. That's a new location for them. I'll get the exact address. I believe it was 64, but don't hold me to the actual address. It's Willett Street in East Providence, where they had the last show. That's what kind of where they're doing some of their shows. They have one coming up. IWA had 10 matches. It was a great show. It was a little hot inside there with the venue, but it is what it is. Great wrestling matches back and forth. He put out, I believe he put out 11 matches that night for $10. Can't go wrong there. IWA, just guys go online. IWA Wrestling, run by T Phoenix. Excellent shows. They were in the Chop Shop, which I mentioned several times. I also went to NCCW, which you've been to in Woonsocket. Saw Big Rikishi, the Bloodline. He mentioned about his family, how much he loves them. They put a phenomenal show on with 10 matches. But if you remember the last time we've taped, I mentioned how my friend Jim Anderson passed away. Well, he was their tag champion. They started their whole show off with a good respect for, they brought all the wrestlers out, and Jimmy Allen spoke well of Jim Perella, how he was a nice guy, and how everyone loved him and everyone liked him, and he was a good worker. But that was an excellent show. Again, that was a little bit more money. All right, it was $20 for that show, or $15 if you buy tickets in advance. But unbelievable, 225 people at the show. Place was rocking. It's outside. You've been to the venue before. Guys, you can't beat this independent wrestling scene. I don't care. Just still need to look up. Please look them all up and go for it. With the few seconds we have left, Steve, I'm going to kind of stay your thunder because I can do this kind of fast.
Okay, well,
I want to thank Double ACS for having us. I want to thank our director for directing us. I want to thank you fans out there for continuing to watch us on ACS. Until we meet again, take care. God bless.